Hi there. I want to make a quick video about how to make a stem and leaf display. We're actually not going to use stem and leaf displays all that much, but they're kind of handy for displaying large quantities of data in sort of a chart form. So I'll show you what I mean. So first, let me go ahead and go to the notes. I'm going to be just below where we were in histograms. So histograms are right up here. And stem and leaf displays are right here. It's probably easiest to make these by hand. I'm going to go ahead and do it on the computer anyway. I don't know, it's a fairly straightforward way to do it on the computer, to be honest. But basically, here's what a stem and leaf display is. The stem and leaf display, the idea is that the final digit of your number is what's called the leaf. And every digit before that is called the stem. Here I've got 2-digit numbers, so we're going to have stems that are 1 digit and leaves that are 1 digit. You can get kind of fancy with these if you want to. We're not going to worry about that too much. I'll show you what I'm going to use these for eventually, or at least I'll describe what we're going to use these for. So what I want to do is take this set of data right here. I'm thinking of these as ages of people in some sort of study. And I want to turn it into a chart that looks like this. And you might say, well, what's the advantage of this chart? Okay, so one, they're simple to make. And two, it's like making a quick histogram, or like a quick and dirty histogram, kind of. So here's the idea. All of your stems go in one column and all of your leaves go in the other column, but your leaves all get stacked with the stem that they go with. So for instance, we have this one 19-year-old person. We got a whole bunch of people in their 20s, right? And then we got some 30s, 30s and 40s and 50s, 60s, no 70s and some 80s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my stems cover all of the possible, in this case, first digits, but like let's say we had a 105-year-old, there would be a 10 down here as well. And then I'm going to put the second digit in the column or in the row that goes with the first digit. So like here's 19, and then this is 20, 21, 21, 23, 24, right? Which is the ages, 20, 21, 21, 23, 24, etc. And so what you can do is if you visualize taking this thing and tipping it on its side, well, you have the histogram, right? Where the quote unquote height, or in this case, width of the bar is how many things are in that category. It's just that category is always exactly 10 units wide, right? With a histogram, we could make the width whatever we wanted, where right, we had it as 1 and 2 and whatever the default was in sheets. Here, these are always 10 wide because this one goes from 10 to 19, and this one goes from 20 to 29, and this one goes from 30 to 39, and you can't really adjust that. You can technically make them go from like 10 to 14 and 15 to 19, or or you can make them too wide, right? 10 and 11, 12 and 13, 14 and 15, 16 and 17, etc. But you can only do 2 and 5 because those are the only numbers that go into 10 evenly. And if you tried to break it up into threes, it wouldn't work out, right? Because you'd have like 10 to 12, 13 to 15, and 16 to 18, and then 19 would be left over. And you can't do that. So you can break it into 2s and you can break it into 5s. Almost always I just leave it as 10, right? Unless your stem and leaf display is humongous, you just want to leave it as 10. So I said I was going to do this on the computer. You know what? Let me just go ahead and show you how this goes. The first thing to do when you're making a stem and leaf display is to sort all your data. It really helps to have it in order. You don't technically have to sort it. You can kind of make 2 stem and leaf displays. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this data, and I will go ahead and make a whiteboard here and show you how this works. So all you want to do is just give yourself a line and then write in all your stems. So my stems went from 10 to 80, right? So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now, we didn't have any 70s, but I'm still going to include the 7. It's really important because that way you can see where the gaps are, right? The whole point of this is to get a visual representation of your data. And so that includes where there is not data as well, right? That's important. It's important that we have no 7s here in case we want to analyze our data, we need to know that there's nobody in the 70s. And we can see that in the stem and leaf. So we had 19, 20, 21, 21, 23, 24, 26, 28, 29. So let me start with the first one, right? So we started with 19, so the 9 goes here. 9. Then we had 20, 21, 21. The other ones were 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. 23, 24, 26, 28, and 29. You want to try and keep the numbers the same width, because the width of the bar is how many fall into that category. And so you want your number, you don't want to make it like a giant fat 8 or whatever, because it makes your bar look bigger than it actually is. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 5, 5. So we had 31, 1, 2, 3, 5, 5, 5, and then there were some more that I couldn't memorize. 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. And then in the 40s, we've got 0, 4, 8. So we've got 0, 4, 8. 50s, we got 54, 59, then 63, 82. So 54, 59, 63, 82. So 54, 59, 63, and 82. And it's important that we, where's my pen? Whoops, what the heck? Has it really been this long? I don't remember how to. Oh yeah, that's right. I have to do that. And then, oh, right. I have to go to, I literally have to hit the whiteboard thing again. Okay, 63, sorry. I wish I knew how to edit video, but that's gonna end up in there. So that's what our stem and leaf looks like. And we can see most of the people are in their 30s, with fewer people in their 20s and 40s, and not many in other categories. Right, and so we can see that from just the picture of the data. Now, obviously, this data set was small enough that we could probably identify that from just looking at the data set, but you can imagine if it was much bigger, it would be really helpful to have this picture. Now, Google Sheets and most spreadsheet programs won't make this automatically. I bet you can download a plugin that would do it automatically, but honestly, you might as well just make a histogram. Right? If I had this data and I wanted to make a histogram, I just make all the buckets 10 units wide, and I would get this picture just with bars. This is a nice, relatively compact way to present data, right? So it's actually a little bit easier to read this than it is to read the original data, right? If I look at this, I personally think that this is harder to digest than this is. Right, this gives you a sense of how many 20s and 30s and whatnot that you have. And so sometimes I will present data like this. I probably won't ask you to make one of these on a test. These are becoming less useful than they used to be, because so much of statistics is done on computers, and computers make histograms just like that. Whereas histograms are actually a real pain in the neck to make by hand, and stem and leaf plots are much easier to make. But if you have a computer, just make a histogram, basically. So that's kind of all I want to say about stem and leaf plots. You should know how to read them by hand. I mean, if you can read them, you can make them. But I probably won't ask you to make one. So you should know how to read them by hand, or you should know how to read them for sure, because I will present data in that fashion. And if you go on to other stats classes, they might present data in that fashion as well. But it's not super important that you know how to make them. And I think that's kind of all I want to say about stem and leaf plots. So I will go ahead and stop the video there.